This video here is just going to be a mini review, a close look at some new soldering stations I've picked up. I've been wanting to get into the cartridge style soldering stations for a little while now. I considered a few different models like the Hakko FX 951, the new paste that came out. I ended up settling on some Chinese ones that I been down the road before with the Chinese soldering stations, and I swore I would never do it again, but I'm giving them another shot, and so far, so good. So these new cartridge styles, these are the Hakko T12, also T15s, which are better in every way as far as heating up quicker, recovery quicker, just getting more power down to the tip faster. So what I'm going to do in this video here is just do some comparisons between the new Chinese stations to my older style. Like this is the 900M, I believe it is, tip. Most of the Chinese knockoff stations you see today use this style of tip. And then we'll also throw the Weller into the mix here, do some comparisons. I'll just start with the tip to grip length. Now, with these new Chinese stations here, the tip to grip is pretty much identical to the Hakko, slightly longer than the Weller. Let's try it with a shorter tip maybe. They're basically the same, except for this KSGER branded one here. This one does not have a collar that has to be removed. This one you can just slip the tips in and has a much shorter grip to tip length. But unfortunately, I can't recommend this one, and we'll get more into that later. Now with my, like I said before, I've had other Chinese solder stations. Problems I had with those were many, but for one, like the cord on my last one was stiffer. It wasn't silicone, so it was always fighting you as you were soldering. But the new station here has a nice soft silicone cord. Also, the strain relief feels nice on these three stations, but this one was a fail right out of the box. This was actually pulled out from the factory. They didn't even get that. They got the length too long on the wires inside, so now it's just wants to flex right in here. And this strain relief really isn't designed right to begin with anyways. It's equal all the way down instead of starting thicker and stronger at the base and gradually getting weaker like all the other ones. But I think next what we'll do is let's jump into the speed test race. I'm going to put some solder around each tip. We're going to fire these all up at the same time and see which one wins. So I've wrapped equal amounts of the same solder across each tip. Now I know all these tips aren't exactly the same. I'm just working with what I got here. But it's all the same 60-40, well, 63-37 leaded solder. It's all equal. All of the temps are set to 310 C, except for these are in Fahrenheit, which will be 590. So they're all equal temps. They're all in the same power strip. They all have the same amount of solder. I'm going to start them all at the same time by flipping the switch. And I'm going to do that right now, and we will see which one is going to heat up the quickest. Now, this is also going to include the boot times necessary on the ones with microprocessors. And this, yep, here, melted. And, okay, so all of the cartridge styles have melted. Over here with the old Hakko and Weller are still not melted yet. And still not melted. Oh, there goes the Hakko and the Weller at the end. All right. Oh, and also these silicone hoses, silicone wires here, they won't burn, which is nice too. You can't accidentally burn through the insulation. So this KSGER was the slowest to boot up and go. I just wanted to note that it's one of its kind of downfalls with the group. Now, as far as prices paid for the new systems, this one came from Amazon for $86. Took 19 days to arrive, and I believe I even paid a little extra for shipping, I think, to get it faster. But yeah, it took the longest 19 days. This one here came from Banggood, paid $68. Well, actually, with the insurance, I paid an extra, I don't know, 33 cents or something for their faster priority shipping. It's really cheap at Banggood. So it was about $70. I had it in 7 days from Banggood. These two both came from eBay. $89. Also paid a couple extra dollars for the priority shipping. So these were $89 in 7 days from eBay. And the older name brand soldering stations, I don't remember exactly what I paid, but I think the 888D goes for right around $100, and the Weller is right around there too, maybe about $120. Next, what I'll do, I'm going to let these go into sleep mode to show you the sleep mode on these. So while these go to sleep, I just wanted to point out with this, another kind of fail with this KSGER branded one is the screen is actually crooked. I'll see if I can get a shot of that. It's a little bit hard with the glare. But yeah, the OLED screen is a little lopsided in there. Quality control on that unit is just not there. I know a lot of you are probably screaming at your screens right now saying, hey, why didn't you buy the TS80 or the TS100? I did consider those. I really like the idea of them. The only thing is they're more geared towards portable use, where I want more of a proper bench style setup. It has a traditional stand, a base, and a traditional cord with a traditional strain relief, whereas the TS 80s and 100s, they have the jack at the end. I know they do have silicone cords available, but I just don't like the idea of a heavier jack and a plug at the end. I just like a traditional style cord that just feels maybe lighter to say. I don't know. These OLED soldering stations are available in quite a few configurations. These are the most expensive deluxe style ones you can get, because they have the all aluminum case with the built-in power supply. You can get just the controller boards by themselves for as little as like $15 if you want to build your own case and power supply. You can buy these short style too with just a jack on the back if you want to use a power brick instead. I'll be taking these apart later. I went with the all aluminum. Another reason for that is since they're all conductive, they're all grounded. That helps with ESD protection. None of the case can't build up a charge because it's grounded. So on the screens here, the main large number is the current actual temperature of the tip. On the bottom left, that is the set temperature. In the middle is the sleep temperature, and then the 5 is the rotary dial setting. So for every click, it moves 5 degrees, and you can change that in the settings. And the 5M, that's 5 minutes. So in 5 minutes is when it will go to sleep. And then the 28 degrees C in the top hand corner here, that's just the internal temperature of the unit. And then the power 24, that is the power supply voltage. That's how these three models work. Now this KSGER does have different software, and it does display things a little differently. I'll go deeper in the user interface here in just a moment. These stations have gone into sleep, and I actually left them idle for a while. They went and they automatically just shut down. But these hand pieces have a tilt sensor in them. To go to sleep, they actually have to be kind of in a stand position like this. When they're laying flat, they didn't go to sleep. But to wake them up, you just pick up the hand piece. It senses the tilt, and they wake back up again. And here's the third one. Except for this one, the KSGER, it won't even wake up because it's defective. The tilt sensor is not reading right, so it doesn't wake up. That's too bad. So when these are on the main screen that you see, you can just spin the knob to adjust the temperature. And then to get into the settings to make other changes, you just push and hold. And then from here you can change the set temperature, the sleep temperature. These are all set to 200 degrees for sleep temperature. And then the sleep time, here they're set for 5 minutes. And then you can change the encoder steps. Right now it's 5 steps for every click of the encoder. And then this is the language. Now in these you actually have to have it to this, whatever this symbol is here means English. So when you first get these, they're in a different language. To put them in English, you have to select whatever that boxy squiggly line stuff is. And then the off time is set to 4 minutes. So after it sleeps, and then after 4 minutes, it just goes into a shutdown standby mode where it waits for a tilt. The menus are the same on all of them except for the KSGER, I believe. I think this is the same. Yeah, this one was the same as this, even though the branding, I think the branding's slightly different. There's something slightly different with the one, with this one here. I think this is one that came from Banggood. For this one now, yeah, it's sleeping. So if I click it now, it woke up. I'm gonna make sure my handpiece isn't gonna burn anything. So this one again, you push and hold to get into the menus. The menus on this is quite a bit different. So it has the sleep. It has a boost setting, which the ones don't have a boost. You can select the tip, which I guess that matters. You can adjust the stepping again on the encoder. Password, I think that's to get into other things we're not supposed to get into. I'm not too sure. You can change. You can turn the buzzer on and off. You can set low voltages, so it will just shut off if the voltage gets too low. It's got some pump and desoldering settings, which this model is available with a solder sucker nozzle, so it's the same firmware for the desoldering station as it is for the soldering station, I think. Date and time, and then you can make the adjustments, to trim up the if the temperature is reading off. And then system info, that's the software version there. I think next I'm going to take the lids off these things. And before I forget, I just wanted to show there is one more setting for the standby and sleep. Right, I do have it set to shake, so it is supposed to wake up from a shake, which it doesn't because the sensor, the tilt sensor, isn't talking back to the base, so it's just a piece of crap. But anyways, I've got the screws pulled out of all these, so I can take a look at the inside. We'll check out the power supply. I'll show you the backs. Now again, this KSGER branded one is different than the others. Now on the back, in order to turn it on, instead of clicking up like you normally would with the light switch, you know, click up for on, this one you have to click it down for on. It just feels awkward. I mean, I don't know, but these other ones, you click up for on, which is, I don't know, if you ask me, that's the way it should be. Click up for on. Anyways, enough of that stupid rant. Let me get this off to the side here. So here is the power supply, little switch mode power supply of the KSGER branded one. And there's a look at the controller. And this one, they have the socket soldered directly to the board. Let's see if these are the same way too. Yeah, these also are soldered, the socket soldered directly to the board. Oh, they are different power supplies though. Let's see, so this is the one from Banggood. Yep, this is the Banggood model. These are the ones from eBay. All right, so the eBay and Banggood models are the same, although the firmware on the one that came from Banggood is slightly different. And the other eBay model, yep, same switching power supply as these other three. Okay, I do see this fused, besides a fuse in here too. So we got 2 fuses. I'm not gonna get too deep into that. I can see the beeper down in there. The controller board on this one's a little different. I see a battery. Oh, they are a different board. Okay. Anyways, let let's see here. What should I talk about next? Now with these 3 units, the Banggood and eBay ones, they all did not send the tips, even though in the description and pictures it shows the tip is included. I had to send messages to the sellers, and they have tips on the way. Now these, of course, are the Chinese knockoff T12s. I do have one genuine. The tip that's in here right now is an actual Hakko branded. This is going to say T15. Yeah, this is a genuine Hakko brand here, straight from Hakko. Actually, if you have to buy these tips, buy them right from Hakko. The prices are better than anywhere else. And if you buy, I think it was $30, you get free shipping or something like that. So basically, if you buy 2 tips, you get free UPS ground shipping. Oh, and you even get a free little bonus gift too. So you have to, when you're at the store, you have to look for that. Anyways, I'm kind of disappointed. I had my hopes up for this one because of the short tip to grip they had, and then it's all aluminum, and you don't need to remove the collar to change out the tip, where on the other ones, on these guys here, you have to unscrew the collar to change out the tip, and then you have to put the collar back on. Speaking of tips, let's see here, my favorite is the, this one here, J02, not the S. So this is, so here in my right hand is a real branded Hakko. I think it's even laser etched down there somewhere, if I can find it. Never thought I saw some laser etching. Yeah, here it is. I don't know if it's going to pick up on the camera. Yeah, the fake doesn't have that. This is the JS02. This is the J02. This one's slightly bigger in the tip. This one's a little bit skinnier. I actually enjoy working with the fake J02 more than the real JS02. The slightly smaller ones, not quite as handy. And yeah, you can buy, I just, to know which tip I'd like, I bought a kit of, I was like a dozen tips for $30. Of course, that's for the fakes. But that was, again, was just to see which tip I would like. And then here I'm just going to check out the chassis grounding on the center pin here. So I can't recommend the KSGER branded station. It's just too buggy, too many issues, but I have been daily driving these DXCHMEI branded ones. Mouthful of model numbers there. Been using these for a couple weeks. They work great, no complaints. Now, in the ad that I bought these from, this brand name wasn't showing. They were just listed as a T12A. Some of the differences to look for is this is a 4-pin aviation connector, where the KSGER branded one is a 5-pin, and then this has the black switch in the back that's backwards. These have the red switch in the back. And the tips, even the fake tips, have been working well. I'm sure they have thinner plating than the real deal, so I don't expect them to last very long, but when it's time to order tips, I'll be getting genuine Hakkos. One of the things that attracted me to these was the user interface and the screens. They're just more... So I can't recommend the KSGER branded station. It's just too buggy, too many issues, but I have been daily driving these DXCHMEI branded ones. Mouthful of model numbers there. Been using these for a couple weeks. They work great, no complaints. Now, in the ad that I bought these from, this brand name wasn't showing. They were just listed as a T12A. Some of the differences to look for is this is a 4-pin aviation connector, where the KSGER branded one is a 5-pin, and then this has the black switch in the back that's backwards. These have the red switch in the back. And the tips, even the fake tips, have been working well. I'm sure they have thinner plating than the real deal, so I don't expect them to last very long, but when it's time to order tips, I'll be getting genuine Hakkos. One of the things that attracted me to these was the user interface and the screens. They're just more... That is just odd. What the heck? That is... Well, anyways, let me hook up one of these other ones now. The ones the slightly different branded ones purchased from eBay and Banggood. Now the barrels of these are ground, which that just makes sense to me. I mean, so we have, yep, center pin. I'm on the center grounding pin of the socket here, so that's grounded, and then this will also be grounded. Right? Yeah, it's just not tight. That's all. If I snug this up, it'll work better. All right. Okay. And then I should get some continuity. Yeah, continuity everywhere. Okay, that's more like it. Huh. This one is just bad, man. So I can't recommend the KSGER branded station. It's just too buggy, too many issues. But I have been daily driving these DXCHMEI branded ones. Mouthful of model numbers there. Been using these for a couple weeks. They work great, no complaints. Now, in the ad that I bought these from, this brand name wasn't showing. They were just listed as a T12A. Some of the differences to look for is this is a 4-pin aviation connector, where the KSGER branded one is a 5-pin, and then this has the black switch in the back that's backwards. These have the red switch in the back. And the tips, even the fake tips, have been working well. I'm sure they have thinner plating than the real deal, so I don't expect them to last very long, but when it's time to order tips, I'll be getting genuine Hackos. So one of the things that attracted me to these models was the user interface and the display. It just seems like a step up, a little bit more modern than the older LED 7-segment displays and the crazy user interfaces that Hacko likes to use. These are simple to use. You don't need to read the directions to figure out how to use them, which is great. I almost forgot to show you some actual soldering with these stations. While I was editing, the K tips came in. These are what are supposed to be included with these stations. So I'm going to start with, I have a sample board here, a self-repair cluster that has some nasty solder joints that I'm going to be just removing some of these components, wicking them. I have the K-tip. I'm going to start with what they come with, the K-tip. Works great for wicking, so I'll be using that. And also the J-tip. I'm going to start with the Chinesium tip. Later on, for installing the parts, I'll switch over to a genuine Hacko. Now they come with tips. Well, they're supposed to come with tips, but they do not come with stands. I'm just using my old Weller stands. They fit good in those. So let's get started. I'm going to pull this board up under the microscope so you can get a little bit clearer picture on what's going on. So I just got done reflowing this group of resistors here. I ended up using the both tips were the Chinesium tips. I forgot to switch out when I went to put the resistors back on the board. The next group of resistors, but I did switch back to, I have a genuine Hacko tip in here now, so I will be using that for this next group. All right, so there I just finished up cleaning up these 3 resistors here, and that was with the JS02 tip that I just used. That was the genuine Hacko. The bent tip I was using before was just a J02, slightly larger. I like the slightly larger one a little bit better. So there you just saw how it works on surface mount stuff. But what about the larger stuff? So let me get some heavier wire out, and we're going to try to solder that next. So here I just have some wire. If I had to guess, this is somewhere between maybe 18 gauge and 20 gauge. Insulation isn't labeled, so I'm not exactly sure what it is. But it's going to be our sample. So I'm going to go ahead and actually, if you see right now, the station is sleeping. I'm going to pick it up, wake it up, and it will be to 310 pretty quickly. Actually, by the time I grab the solder, it's ready to go. Tin up my tip just a bit. Let me get this right up over the top here so you can get a little bit better view of what I'm doing. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and solder this wire, and we'll see how well it works, see how good the heat transfer is. I haven't used any flux on this wire. It's just whatever flux is in the solder is what's being used. Flip it over and do the other side here. Yeah, it doesn't have any trouble with getting heat down into that wire. It has a nice big fat tip. This is the K-tip that it comes with that I use for that. And there you have it. Yeah, I guess that's all I've got left to say about this. You can judge for yourself if you think it's any good or not. But yeah, that's going to wrap up this video. Thanks for